All right, now we're streaming legit. Stop streaming, start streaming. And huh? Your news? The I think the all right, the torrents. Torrents, Utenas, Ghiblis. Yeah, we got all that. All that biz. And we are live. I guess it's good to go. Whoop. All right. Oh, do I have an opening bit? Oh, I got a message about the Civ game. Big war is happening in the Civ game. I declared war on Lisa and invaded her continent. So I basically had this giant navy and I attacked one of her cities. And then I came in with a bunch of other stuff in the cities. So we were trying to negotiate a treaty and chat between turns. And then suddenly Germany on my continent, Alex, declared a massive war and invaded me. We'll see.
Just turn your massive navy around.
So I am the thing is I don't want to lose the city I already took. So I'm recording every turn actually of this multi-year long Civ game, and I'm gonna start uploading the videos from a year ago on turn 80, up to turn 80, because I wouldn't reveal information about my Civ, but I can't upload videos from the current state because then they'd see where all my troops are. There are troops that I don't have nukes. We're in the era of I have artillery and I have riflemen next round. So I have this no one else has artillery or riflemans. So they see this line. So Alex has got all these Gatling guns that he's rolling in, but I got Gatling guns. Whatever. I got Gatling guns I got Gatling guns before I got gunpowder because I played some shenanigans in the game. But yeah, I've got this line of musketmen which lose to Gatling guns, but that line becomes a line of riflemen. I can upgrade probably 6 of them. Yeah, they're in a line. I'm letting them come into my territory, and then suddenly I'm going to counterattack. Because that is the advanced war strategy. Let them come in. All right. Anyway, what do I got for an opening bit? Oh, shit, there's a ton of people. There's, how many? There are 2 people, and there were more before. There's a bunch of people chatting, though. Opening bit. It's nice out, but that's not that interesting. To hockey. I'll talk about hockey. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. I'm Rim. And this is GeekNights. Tonight, we got a double feature. We're talking about 2 comics, Dissolving Classroom and Wrecked Hearts.
Let's do this.
Get wrecked, son. So speaking of Wrecked Hearts, it was looking pretty tough for the Rangers before last night. True, but we lost the first 2 games.
4 games of anything. And you have to win 3 of them, and if you don't win 3, you actually lose. So if I just win 2, then that's it. But you have to win 3.
Yep.
That's not good for you, and no matter what game we're playing.
But to be fair,
even if we're playing coin toss, it's not good for you.
Game 1 against the Senators for the Rangers was pretty close, and the Rangers were doing okay. They just lost. And then game 2 was crazy scoring, double overtime bullshit, and it was a real close game. The game last night was a blowout in the other direction. It was I'm watching the game and they scored, and then I walked away to pee and I come back and I see what I assume is a replay of the score, and then I realized that no, they just scored again.
Mm-hmm.
So now Scott and I are going to the game tomorrow, and before last night, I was kind of assuming that this was going to be the last hockey game of the season for us.
Well, now
and we were
mathematically cannot be the last hockey game of the season.
But I went from expecting to go and see the end of the Rangers run to not expecting to go and see them win, because I've learned from the master, Scott, as a New York fan, if you're winning a game by 3, you can still fuck it up. If you're winning by 4, you're probably going to win.
No.
You got to be winning by 5 in hockey before it counts, and you can say, yeah, this game's over, and turn it off. Because if you turn that game off, it's going to be a big comeback.
Even if you turn it off with 10 points, it'll still
what was the deal with that game with the Mets that I literally until yesterday assumed was a joke?
Oh, the pitcher got injured pretty early, And then
But they don't have another pitcher?
No, they do. But
But is he bad? Like, how bad is he?
They put a lot of pitchers in baseball these days. You change pitchers like a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Usually, I mean, at minimum, you're using like 3 a game. Sometimes, 4 or more or something, right? But they used a lot of it, and they just got their asses kicked.
Because that was quite. They scored more in that game than RIT scored against Newman in that famous hockey game by 1.
See, it's all like when you have a close game in any sport, right? It's always sad when you lose by 1 because it's like, I got a loss even though I played really well. But then,
like when you push into 3 overtimes in a hockey game, like you feel like you should have won.
Right, but if you lose by 100, it's like, well, that's the same thing as losing by 1. So it's like, what's the difference? It doesn't matter. It's like, all right, whatever. We're gonna lose anyway. Who gives a shit?
Yep. Let's rest the good people, which doesn't matter. I guess for pitchers it matters in baseball.
In basketball, they rest the good people, and it's a big problem.
Well, yeah, because people only pay to see basketball to see the good people.
In the regular season basketball, is a big controversies going on because the games. They rest the good people, but you paid to see the good people, and now you paid all this money to see bench people.
Yep. I guess you can watch them on the bench,
anyway.
just sitting there.
They might not even show up if they're traveling. They don't come to your town.
So
they stay home.
It's Wednesday, so there's a bunch of anime news and anime adjacent news, but the one that you all out there might have noticed if you're dirty pirates, which I assume a lot of you are, is that an anime torrent site called Nya went down. And that wouldn't really be news, except that torrent site seems to have been the one that was to use a Wall Street term, the liquidity provider for all the rest of the anime torrent sites.
It was the backbone of many anime torrent sites.
Yeah, a liquidity provider is basically someone who is willing to publicly say, hey, I'll trade this stock. Like, they will put liquidity into the market, but it's on other venues. So this is where the torrents that people actually downloaded originated. So all these other torrent sites that people thought, there's a ton of anime torrent sites. There weren't really. There was one and a bunch of people leeching off of those.
There's more, but some of them have been private. And so, it's like torrents are still the best way to distribute pirate stuff without getting taken down like YouTube style.
But they are increasingly retreating to the realm of nerdy people who know the deal.
No, it's really, people always like, oh my God, torrents so hard. Oh
They're
my God.
not. You click a link.
You install a program.
Wait, so already.
Setup.exe.
So wait, I'm confident that if I just type torrent software, the first exe I get is going to be some malware.
I think it'll probably be the official
Let's see, torrent software.
uTorrent.
Oh, wow, yeah. All right.
Which is
micro torrents.
Now, uTorrent.
People who call it uTorrent are the people who type US for microseconds instead of actually typing the mu symbol.
Yeah, can you type a mu symbol?
Yes.
Type it right now.
I copy-pasted from Wikipedia.
No, type it with your keyboard.
Yeah, watch how I type it. Watch how I type. Watch how hard this is.
You're cheating. Okay.
All right, what's going on here? How do you think I'm
How
confident?
do you get to the Wikipedia page for it without typing it?
By typing micro.
Wouldn't it? This is pretty slow here. It's easier to
micro Wikipedia, the symbol.
But if you just go and type U, it'll work in Google. You don't need to type the micro.
Yeah, but I want to type the micro when I am typing the word to show someone else.
What's the alt code? It's right there.
Fuck if I care. I don't type it that often.
Anyway, the point is,
The point when I see someone not
you install this program. uTorrent is
microtorrent
is legit, even though it has ads in it. It's it's not malware.
It's not. Yeah, it's not malware.
But make sure that when you run the setup.exe, you uncheck all the evil boxes.
Someone in the chat is just like typing it over and over again.
Yeah. The other thing is that there are other torrent clients that are really even less evil, like Transmission and such. That you can get. But anyway, you install a program. Then you go to a website, you click a link, the file downloads, you double-click on the file, it plays. It'll play in Windows Media Player, but if for some reason it doesn't, it'll play in VLC perfectly. There is some crazy nut jobs who are like, you got to install this CCCP Windows
Do not
Media
install
Player
that.
Classic.
That is bad news.
Because basically, way back in the day, their VLC didn't play all the files.
But generally, the files VLC didn't play were the ones that came from the shadiest of the sites.
Right. Nowadays, VLC plays absolutely everything and is even super legit.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to install some shady Windows Media Player piece of garbage.
Also, most of the stuff just plays in Windows Media Player, guys.
Yeah, regular Windows Media Player.
Like, it just works.
Or, what do you have on Macs? QuickTime something, right?
I don't even know.
iTunes.
Who has a
The point
Mac?
is, you'll download a video file, you'll double-click it, it's going to fucking play on your computer. And that's it. It's not as great as YouTube where you type in a URL and then press play. That's true. But it's download a file, double-click on it.
And there's a gap between, the fact that you're getting this torrent file and getting the video and all these pieces means that you're not going to get malware unless you're dumb.
Right.
Or super unknowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
But even then...
The point is, if you want to distribute pirated stuff and you want to avoid YouTube takedowns, just use BitTorrent. Stop fighting it. Just use the old Pirate Bay. Use whatever tracker is the tracker right now. You can change trackers. It doesn't even matter.
Unless you're in the know, it is increasingly hard for a normal person who does not know how to find the torrents in the first place, especially when the torrent aggregators keep going down.
I just go to Pirate Bay. It's still there. It still works.
For now, Pirate Bay is having some increasing troubles.
It's having increasing troubles for like decade plus.
Yeah.
It's still there. It still works.
But most kids today just go to those like blatant pirate sites like Kiss Anime or all that nonsense.
Well, because if you go to Google and type in like I want to watch Naruto or Naruto streams, those are the fucking first results.
Yeah.
Like you search for some like I want to read Naruto manga. It's like the first result isn't buying it on Amazon. The first result isn't a site that has it legit. The first result is some pirate site that just scans.
It is just very interesting to me
them.
that the piracy means that are more old school in the sense of I am pirating this thing to share with you because fuck everybody, I'm doing it for the freedom of media.
That's right.
Versus
that's me.
And those get taken down way harder than the site that's like, yeah, we're just like openly making money off of other people's stuff.
We're just a website that puts manga up with next to ads acting like we're legit.
We are a crime website doing crime and
there's no nobility whatsoever. At least there's something noble about like I am going to subtitle this and share it with the world because someone who does not speak Japanese should not be denied this anime. The joy of seeing Space Battle Yamato is for all.
How is this website up? Like, how? How is this happening? But anyway, yeah, if you use torrents to get anime, like, a million voices just cried out and were suddenly silenced, and...
you'll still be able to get torrents of anime tomorrow. You just have to go somewhere different. You have to figure out what the new site is.
But guys...
It's not hard.
Like, C-Roll's not paying us or anything. The C-Roll is not expensive.
Crunchyroll is way cheap. And
like,
almost everything's on there. If it's not on there, it's on Hulu. If it's not on there,
dude,
it's on Funimation.
When I was
or
at
Netflix.
When I was at RIT.
Or Amazon. Just pick whichever one has the show you want to watch, and then once you're done watching all the shows, what I do.
When I was at RIT.
Cancel and switch to another one.
And had no money and had internet to, like, I had the direct connect of pirate everything in the world forever. If Crunchyroll existed then, I think I would have just paid for it. Because it was just... Like, the idea that you could just go to a website, pay a little bit of money, and have access to, like, more than a couple of anime is still kind of crazy to me.
Now you can get all the anime. Every episode of Fist of the North Star is on there.
So,
for less than the cost of all the DVDs of all of Fist of the North Star, you can watch it all.
So in some other news, it's kind of it's tangentially related, but on Monday we were talking about like pirate and stuff, and today we're talking about pirate and stuff, and like the nobility of the old world. So once again, someone made this cool like 2D, hey, I made Breath of the Wild, but it's 2D, check this out. And of course, it got taken down. Like, you can't get away with this.
You can just stop making a website that says, hey, look at me. My name is Scott Rubin. I made this thing that is obviously blatant infringement of Nintendo's intellectual properties. Come and get me, Nintendo. Yeah, no, I would put it up anonymously on BitTorrent and say, I don't know who made this.
Now, pro
There's
mode...
a thing here that's really awesome, and it keeps getting updated. And
pro mode is you cryptographically sign that shit, so at some point in the future, you could prove that you're the one who made it.
Sure.
But you got to get it out there first. If your goals are purely noble. If your goal is to make money and be the Kiss anime of 2D Breath of the Wild, well... I don't know what you're expecting. The world is different now.
Yep.
And yet more news, if you want to see Ghibli's, like Ghibli movies, if you don't realize
They're on DVD. I think all of them now.
But if you want to see them in the theater...
Even frickin' Ocean Waves is on DVD in America now.
Fathom Events, which is that thing where they'll do like an event in movie theaters. Sometimes it'll be a live stream thing. Yeah. Sometimes it'll be like...
I wonder how much it costs to make our own Fathom event.
I was thinking about that because a lot of...
Who would buy a ticket to our Fathom event and what cut would we get?
Podcasts that are 2.5 to 3 tiers above us in terms of like real tiers, like in terms of like, you know, hundreds of thousands of listeners, they do Fathom events where they get on a stage somewhere and do the podcast, and people can watch it live or semi-live at these events.
In a movie theater somewhere else. Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm. It probably just costs some amount of money.
You need real good internet in the place that has the stage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's taken care of. I could look into it. I'm sure there are dozens of people who would be interested in that.
Dozens.
Be 1,000 there after this.
Yeah.
But
I'm already 1,000.
G-Kids.
I have a job.
G-Kids is the go-to way to see anime in theaters. And G-Kids and Fathom are bringing 6 Ghibli movies: Totoro, Laputa, Kiki's Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Nausicaa. They're just going to be subtitled and dubbed in theaters, but pretty much only in big cities. This isn't really news because this.
I mean, in New York, like every year, IFC has like every Ghibli
Dude,
movie thing.
in New York, I think I've seen every major
I don't
anime
think
movie.
it hasn't been like a month gone by that I've lived here that you haven't been able to see at least one Ghibli movie in a theater somewhere.
Never mind every new anime movie. Like, we just see them all in theaters. Like, it's not. The moral of this news is live in a city, or I guess Tampa. Like, if you live like in Florida or something.
That's a real city.
It is a real
I
city.
mean, it's a city. It's certainly not a town.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, technically, Beacon is a city.
Yeah, well, Tampa has professional sports teams. All of them.
Oh, that's a good
a
metric.
baseball and
Does
a
it have
hockey
a
and
nationally
and a football?
a nationally known professional sports team?
Yeah, Tampa has every sport.
Yeah, I think that's the line.
I don't think it has basketball teams.
Seattle does not have every kind of sport, though.
I think the only basketball team in Florida is the Miami Heat.
Do they
right?
need to
I
have?
don't think there's another one.
So is the
It's
line?
the Orlando Magic, but
So,
there's
Scott,
no Tampa basketball team.
Is the line just one or all of the major sports? Because Seattle don't got no hockey team.
Seattle has two. They had basketball. They had 3. Now they have 2.
Yeah.
And I think if you have a football team in America,
That counts.
That already counts.
Here's what you need. You need either a football team or any 2 other national sports teams.
I mean, you know.
It's one of those, football or pick 2. But
Well,
anyway,
I think San Diego, they had the Chargers and the Padres, and now they lost the Chargers.
yeah.
They only have baseball in San Diego now? I guess they might have soccer, but I don't think they have. There's no hockey.
Vegas doesn't have hockey
No,
yet.
it's the San Jose Sharks. There's no San Diego hockey team.
Vegas won't have hockey till next year. Well, the end of this year, technically.
Yeah,
but-
Vegas is a major city without any.
Well,
sports.
is Vegas a city or is Vegas a theme park?
Oh.
Oh, but yeah, you can see Ghibli's in the theater, and actually with modern projection, like it's all digital and like really high quality, it's actually worth it. If you've never seen a Ghibli movie in the theater, even if you've seen them all, it's worth it to see one of them in the theater.
I also imagine most people haven't seen all of them. Like, we've
Yeah.
seen all of them, but like we're oddities. People in the United States, we are among a small number of people who have seen
Yep.
all of these, almost all of these things.
And honestly, like
I've
if
seen
you're
all
gonna
the ones worth seeing.
if you haven't seen like all the Ghibli movies in the theater and you haven't seen Laputa, Castle in the Sky, I'd go see that one in the theater because
It's the first one.
and also it is like there's a lot going on in that movie that is enhanced by being in a theater setting. Just the scope of it. Anyway, I digress. Another piece of news. You guys know we were for a while doing that Utena show, which is coming back. Just I got to do a bunch of crap first. Stay tuned. I'm fighting off like 3 takedowns.
Right, but here's some Utena that's not being taken down.
Yeah, all of Utena is just on YouTube.
Legally,
You can just watch it.
subtitled, for free. No Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu required. Go to YouTube.
Only up to 480p, but Utena was only made in like 480p. Like the Blu-rays, you can see like cell defects if you watch the remastered Blu-rays. Like you can see cell
this
layering
is not a
defects.
16:9 HD show. The show is from 1990 something, not late.
Yeah, it's a 4:3
It
anime.
was made for analog crapo TVs, so watching it on YouTube in 480p is just fine.
And frankly, if you're
for
an
free,
anime,
for free.
just if you're a GeekNights fan, you've been a GeekNights fan for the last 12 years, you've probably seen Utena because we talk about it a lot. If you've never seen Shoujo Kakame Utena, it is a real important anime in terms there's nothing
it's
like
referenced
it.
by so many things.
And there's nothing. It also.
Once you see it, and you're gonna go back to some other thing you saw and be like, "Oh, that's an Utena reference that I missed."
Yup.
Because derp.
But also, it's a bridge. Those references to Utena are, in a way, bridges because Utena is referencing even weirder stuff like Brother Dear Brother that I'm sure you've never seen.
Isn't Brother Dear Brother newer than Utena?
Is it? When did it actually come out?
I'm pretty sure Utena doesn't reference Brother Dear Brother.
They're very similar. Yeah, 91. I think they were contemporary. But the manga, 70s. The anime didn't come out till 91, 92.
I don't know. Whatever. The point is, it's for free on YouTube. Holy crap, watch it.
Utena, yeah, you know what? There are things that are like it, but the things that are like it are also made by Ikuhara.
Well, the Rose of Versailles, kind of.
Yeah, or well, I mean, there's Yuri Kuma, which is the most recent iteration of let's have lesbians.
I mean, Rose of Versailles, right? Heavily, it's probably the thing that influenced Utena a bunch.
Yeah,
Visually, I guess, you know.
but I can't think of anything that told the same story that Utena did the way they told it, with that combination of weird music and weird allegory, allegorious. If you haven't seen Utena, you literally have no excuse. You can click on a link on our website to this YouTube video and click one button. You don't even need to install
It does have
microtorrent.
287,000 views, so people are watching.
Yeah.
Good job, people.
I kind of want to watch Utena again.
Me too.
Yeah. Kissing love into your heart. Takishima Teru. Bop. Okay. Yeah, it's got Utena premiered in 97.
Okay.
I just don't remember the exact year. And even when I remember something these days, I want to make sure I'm right because,
Mm-hmm.
Plus, isn't there that whole thread in the forum now about actually arguing and being right about stuff and facts?
How do you know that's not 97, just a number someone typed into a website?
It is.
How do you know that's actually we went into it?
Because there are multiple
I could
websites.
go right 1777.
So, you know what? So this happened in my high school. We had to do this report. There was a whole report thing we had to do. And a friend of mine, for the group report, made up an author so they could make up the report and just be done with it like real quick. And the teacher kind of wasn't sure, didn't believe him. He legit made a GeoCities site and put citations on it and then gave the teacher a link. Because back then, like, adults didn't know shit about how internet shit worked. And he totally got away with it.
You know what you could do?
Because it was on the internet. Like, it was legit.
I'm sure someone must have done this at some point. Make a card, put it in the card catalog in the library.
Oh.
And then take the book. No, there's no book because it's checked out.
Yeah. In the early days of Wikipedia, you could edit Wikipedia, tell someone to go to the Wikipedia, and no one would undo that shit.
You can still
quick
do
enough.
that as long as it's a page no one cares about.
Yeah. The thing is, you'd be surprised. There are people who watch specific pages about dumb shit and immediately undo vandalism.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few pages I still watch.
Okay.
Let me see.
You got email notifications?
No one's messed with this one in a while because I feel like I won that battle.
Oh, that one?
That one. I used to be, this article, I pretty much won that battle. This article for a long time was legit and was, well, it acted like this is a legit thing with controversy. And look, this is all pseudoscientific bullshit about people who think bullshit. The end. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit. It is bullshit.
You don't say.
Yeah. For a long time, that was not the case. I was in long edit wars.
Why don't you go for the edit war on Sovereign Citizen?
Because those people might actually like show up and stab me. Those people are dangerous.
Stab 'em back.
Also, those two furry conventions that went down because of the Nazi furries. The Nazi furries in both cases
told
were
me.
sovereign citizens.
You told me
I
that.
learned they're both part of the same specific sovereign citizens movements.
Is it edit the do they watch the Wikipedia page as part of their daily routine?
I don't think they edit the Wikipedias, but they threaten people with violence, like direct individuals from the internet.
Oh, get them. They're afraid to come to New York. It's too dangerous here. For such violent people, why are they so afraid of the lowest crime city?
Yeah, but at the same time, I have enough to worry about with geopolitics. I don't want there to be anyone out there who specifically has an interest in stabbing me, even if they're non-internet and not super capable.
Anyone has interest in stabbing me, bring it on. That gives me an excuse to stab.
I don't carry a stabbing implement with me on a regular basis.
I do.
I do not.
It's a multi-tool. It just happens to have a knife in it.
Yeah, I feel like you can't get that knife out quick enough.
Yeah, but imagine if I stabbed you with it.
I got my flick knife.
Imagine if I stabbed you with it, though.
Ow. You saw
Yeah.
the-
It's not good news, is it?
yeah, but it's real short. Like, well,
That's why I don't get in trouble walking around.
what was
with
that
it.
old thing today about knife fighting?
I'm not
where
going to carry around a sword. You saw what happens when you have swords.
Cautionary tales of swords.
You're the one who has a sword.
Yeah. One of the letters to that show is like, don't hate on swords just because you lost your eye to a sword. There are many people who enjoy swords. Not everyone gets cut by swords. And he was like, you'll get cut by a fucking sword. It'll happen.
Oh, let me keep this bomb in my house. It won't blow up.
Boom! All right. But anyway, things of the day. There was a toy series, like one of those lines of toys that I had as a kid that I remember being super fucking legit. But at the same time, I also remembered He-Man being super fucking legit. And there was a point in my life when I learned my lesson that He-Man is the opposite of legit.
I mean, it's legitimately bad.
Yeah, and it is legitimately...
The thing is, the He-Man toys are actually good. The show was just bad.
They're okay. They're not as good as
The
Mass
show
toys.
is hey, yeah.
Mass toys were like way better than even the best Transformers in terms of the physicality of the toy.
The best toy in terms of action figures ever is
The
still
Technodrome.
the real metal Voltron.
Yeah, if you're gonna go, yeah, you want to go real toys? I had a toy. It was a toy gun that was my grandpa's. It was
actually a gun in shop, people.
It was actually a gun, but you put these low gunpowder cartridges in it that weren't that dangerous. But it was basically
best
just
toy, actual gun.
actual gun,
Yeah.
actual weak gun. But
Not as good as Voltron.
so I stumbled upon the commercial for these toys. The toys were Spytek.
I never heard of this.
So these toys were almost without an exception
Garbage.
legit spy shit. Like if you wanted to actually spy on people for real, they were like that was what they reported to do.
I'm skep.
They legit did it. So you know what they were? One of them was this really compact periscope that you could like unfold and spy on people with. It was really good. One of them was some walkie-talkies. Like back then, walkie-talkies were like a legit
Were the
spy.
walkie-talkies like $100?
No, they were cheap.
I had walkie-talkies, but they weren't Spytek.
But they were branded. Like they were part of the toy set, but you could hide them because you like wore them on your belt.
My
You had this tiny
walkie-talkies
little
were
thing.
large, and actually they worked quite well. And
Yep.
had a Morse code chart printed on the front. And
I know exactly. It was the Fisher Price one. I know exactly.
And an
which,
orange button you could
I
press.
know. I had that exact walkie-talkie.
But
I know.
you could also talk.
I know exactly which one you're talking about because I had that exact same one. These guys.
Yes,
That's the
guy.
one. They actually had surprisingly.
Mine, I think, was a little better than that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it that one?
No, that's an actual.
Yeah.
The chart on the front of mine wasn't a piece of paper. It was like a plastic, raised thing.
Was it this one?
No,
Because that one I also had.
it was mine were, but it's very, very similar. Effectively the same toy.
Yeah, but these were like hidden, like you wore the belt pack and actually worked really well. And you had this tiny like transmitter in your ear. It had sunglasses you could wear that had like mirrors you could see behind you that were discreet, like they were actually discreet. It had motion detectors you could leave that would like set off alarms. It had signal lights, and like they weren't the like super high tech, like they were pretty simple stuff. But I looked into like how well they work, and I found a bunch of people like reviewing them from a modern standpoint. They were legit. Like, if you want to spy on other people for real, to find things out about them, these toys were way more functional than I think, like, parents who bought them for their kids realized. And I would not be surprised if more than one kid found out where dad was going when he worked late with this shit. So this is one of the first commercial for Spytek. And the craziest thing about these toys...
this commercial seems vaguely familiar.
Yeah, you watch the commercials and you'll see it because they were
skipping through it.
They were a series. I had every one of these fucking toys.
I had none of these toys.
And I used them to spy on the neighbors. Like I like legit spied through neighbors' windows.
What'd you learn about the neighbors?
Real boring stuff. Like nothing interesting at any point ever.
Yeah.
But the craziest part was that they came with manuals that were like how to spy on people. I found some of the manuals and I was reading through them today when I thought about doing this thing of the day. They give legit advice on how to do dead drops and like how to tail people without getting caught. Like real advice. So that was a thing.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Oh, number one comment on this video: why are a bunch of kids stalking that guy commuting to work? Comment one because they know what's up. So what do you got for me?
This is just a tweet with some pictures in it, but what this is in Turkey, so doing some archaeology. So I guess despite however bad things are there, you can still do archaeology there just fine. And this guy uncovered a mosaic. Mosaics are like the best, except for tapestries. Mosaics are like second best.
Yeah, when I was in Turkey, one of the best things is seeing the old mosaics all over the city.
I kind of want to make mosaics. I feel like I can't draw, but I feel like I can make a mosaic.
It's basically just pixel art.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, only pixels can be any shape and size.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
color. Yeah. But yeah, this mosaic is a totally fucking badass skeleton from like what years? Ancient time?
If I had to guess, just looking at it,
Centuries ago,
because
at
I
least.
saw this when it got tweeted, because this is basically the motherfucking share zone.
Right, but basically, it's an awesome skeleton. It's at least centuries old, if not
Okay,
more.
it's earlier than I thought. I was gonna guess like 500, 600 AD. It's actually 3rd century.
Yeah, that's old. Millennia old. And what does it say on the skeleton? Be cool and live your life.
Because if I just clicked on a
Enjoy your
link.
life, something, something.
Be cheerful and live your life. And the skeleton's just
Because
like,
if you're not cheerful and you don't live your life, you're gonna be a skeleton.
or more importantly, you're gonna be a skeleton someday anyway.
It's basically the same exact message as the Happy Birthday comic with the Grim Reaper moving the little bead down the
Yup.
right, the Perry Balavash.
I send that to everyone I know on their birthday when I remember, pretty much
Right.
every year.
So, awesome mosaics for the win. If anyone knows any other awesome mosaics or has any tips on making awesome mosaics,
So on my thing of the day, kids' first guide to a restraining order. In the meta moment, the book club book is Dune, and wait until we beat Ganon. So otherwise,
but I'm taking my time beating Ganon.
yeah, I haven't even
I
beaten.
can probably go beat him right now if I wanted to, but I don't.
I'm poking around the Goron zone, but I'm not finishing the Goron zone.
I didn't even go to the Goron zone yet. I've been to every other zone, but I'm cleaning up all the other zones and upgrading tons and tons of shit before I go to the Goron
Also,
zone.
I learned some
I
things.
imagine when I do go to the Goron zone, it's just gonna blow it out of the water. Like
I
boop.
did not know horses could die.
Yeah, they
Like you
died.
kept saying one died, but I didn't really think about it. So I was fighting some moblins that were way more dangerous than they had any right to be in a place that is way more dangerous than I expected. And they fucking killed my horse.
Yeah.
But not my good horse, so I don't really care. It was a horse that I got because I thought it was good, and then I found way better horses. But yeah, now I know that horses can die, and it's real sad. Emily was like, "Is that horse dead?" And I was like, "I think that horse died," and she was real upset about it because I let my horse die.
They got hit points.
Yeah. So luckily, my main horse, Sunset, is pretty strong. I feel like Sunset's invincible mostly.
My main horse is not Epona.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
I named it not Epona.
Yeah.
Notepona.
I got the giant horse, but the funniest thing about that giant horse is that
My
I
giant
saw.
horse is named Kakuo.
I named mine Calamitous.
But Kakuo is the
Yeah,
name of the horse.
that's the actual name of that
That's
horse.
the horse name.
Because I know where that horse came from. I know what island. But when I saw the horse, like I came up over this like ridge and I see the horse in the distance, and you know immediately like, wow, that horse either that's a normal horse and a bunch of baby horses, or that's a giant horse and a bunch of normal horses. But the horse was having like
horse-sized duck or 1,000 duck-sized horses.
that horse was having like a conference of horses because all these other horses were like standing there looking at him, and he was just standing there like I'm the big horse, and I don't know what they were doing. But
Grazing?
yeah, but they were like the big horse was like convening a council of horses around himself.
They travel in packs, the horses.
I guess. But yeah, we're gonna be at the next convention we'll be at is Kineticon in early July 6th, 7th through 9th. There is no content on July 6th, Thursday.
Even though the website says Kineticon is July 6th through 9th, on July 6th, there will not be anything happening.
It is like many cons in that you can show up on Thursday and LobbyCon is in full swing, and you can pick up your badges.
Technically, it's open-ish. They just want to be able to advertise that
But
it starts Thursday.
There is no Geek Nights content on Thursday, but we will be there doing a bunch of panels and such. If you want to run a panel at Kineticon, submit it because I'm literally like filling out the whole schedule just as I see fit. And if you wait, you're probably not going to be on the schedule because I'm filling it up pretty quick. Otherwise, we're going to be at PAX Unplugged. We're going to be at PAX West. Probably going to be at PAX Australia. And almost definitely going to be at MagFest as soon as they announce the dates. So I know if it conflicts with, I don't know, New Year's. That's enough meta.
PAX Unplugged tickets went on sale today.
Oh, yeah, they did.
I don't think they sold out yet.
Let's see if they're sold out.
I do not think
I
they
doubt
are.
they did.
I highly doubt they're sold out yet.
Click here to purchase. Continue without social.
Oh, look, you didn't even have to
Yep.
wait. You didn't have to wait in the queue.
Yeah, there's no key. It's only $60.
3 days.
Oh, you can buy the oh my god. put the add-ons right there. Like, get that pin set.
Well,
6 sets.
The pins and the scarf are just pre-orders. The dice you could only get by this.
Those dice actually look pretty bad, though.
They're also I would have bought them for like $5, but
Dude,
they were
for $30, I can buy a gallon of dice.
$35. You know how many dice I can buy?
I can buy a pitcher full of dice.
For less than 35, for sure.
Yeah.
Why would I buy 3, even if they're the nicest metal D6s ever, 3 metal D6s or a whole pitcher of all the dice in the world?
All right. Oh, yeah.
Like a gallon of dice from Chessex. Even at the most expensive dice from Chessex, I could buy like 2 or 3 cubes full of D6s. You know, the nice ones.
And otherwise, you should follow Scott on YouTube, and you should follow me on YouTube, because GeekNights content is split between those 2 channels. You can also watch Scott do things like do his dishes or hang out over lunch. And you can watch me very soon. Man, some of you noticed the infographic.
Yeah, since I have 1,000 subscribers, I can stream live on YouTube from my phone. So I don't have to I'm not going to use any stupid Periscopes or Instagrams or anything like that. I can just, boom, YouTube on my phone whenever I want. Immediate live video as long as I have data. So I use that because I have it.
I'm going to start using it more, but you might have noticed I did some things. It popped up a couple times on my YouTube channel, but I am bringing back Advance Wars with Rim, because actually a lot of you have been asking me for that. That's part of that's one of the projects.
Not a lot of competition for that Advance Wars.
Yeah, I feel like I can corner the Advance Wars live streaming market.
I feel like you can also just go into other turn-based games that are Advance Wars like. You can go to the War Bits or the other one that's coming.
No, you know what I should do? Gemfire.
Just do all the games. Do some Aerobiz.
Oh my God, the Aerobiz. I'm gonna see. Has anyone live streamed Aerobiz live stream? The monster live stream. Okay, this is the only person doing it. They're getting hundreds of views. I feel like I can beat that. I feel like I can beat Bobo the Vulture and his 6 months ago he streamed Advance Wars, Aerobiz.
Is he good at Aerobiz?
I don't know. I'm real good at
You
Aerobiz.
should play against him in Aerobiz.
Ooh, because you won't play against me.
No.
So yeah, we're doing a double feature here because these are 2 little comics. They could not be more different. That is
no, one of them is actual manga and one of them is manga influenced.
Yeah, manga-esque.
So we'll talk about that first. So basically, I've heard of not the dissolving classroom, but is it disappearing classroom?
Yeah, I think so.
Is the other one. There might even be more in the series.
Well, so this is part of a series.
I didn't even realize
of several. I think I want to say there's 5.
I didn't even realize it was a series.
No, there's 7 of them.
What are they?
Dissolving Classroom, Meet Again, Children of the Earth, Worshipping Beauty, or Dissolving Beauty, Dissolving Apartment, Chizumi's Dissolving Love, and the Demons Conference is going to be the last one.
Right. So, there's 2 different classroom ones, right? No.
Anyway, this one
I didn't realize it
is
was
by
like
Junji Ito.
They're all by Junji Ito, right?
But Junji Ito, you probably know from. You probably don't know the name of it, but you've definitely encountered the weird spiral manga because people like to post screenshots of that all the time, all over the internet with no context. So that's what that is.
The thing is, it's like this. Like Junji Ito is a name you associate with like Japanese horror manga, right? Who did what's the one with the fish? Is that Uzumaki? Is that also Junji Ito?
That's Junji Ito.
All right. I feel like there's one other person who also does horror manga that's super famous, but I just get them confused all the time because they all blend together because the styles feel similar.
Well, because obviously there's a lot of variance in there, but most of the Japanese visual media, like drawn or animated horror I've encountered, has pretty much looked like this. What else? Other than Yamishibai, which is a similar style in a lot of ways. I mostly encounter Yamishibai and Junji Ito. So this comic is straight up body horror in a Japanese style. Like, that is it in a nutshell. If body horror is your jam, you will like this. If body horror bothers you, you will hate this and you should not read it because you will hate it. So the story is basically about this normal-looking dude and this really scary-looking girl who is his younger sister. and if you encounter them, your brain's probably going to melt, and that's pretty much the entire plot.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know what this was. I just knew it was like a famous horror manga, and I didn't even realize it was a series, but it showed up, and I read it, and it was way quick to read, which is nice, and I didn't know exactly what the story was at all. I figured it was going to be about a school of kids in class in a classroom, and that horror shit would keep happening to them. But no, that was only like the beginning part. And then it's actually these multiple stories that are only linked together a little bit, kind of, because there's a few characters that keep going through, right? The whole thing.
Yep. So basically, you're introduced to these characters, and if you start reading it, you're going to think, wow, that sister's super scary and dangerous, and the kid's just trying to deal with it.
Yeah, what's the deal with this kid who has a crazy, evil sister who's murdering everyone? He
That
can't keep her
kid,
under control.
The moral of this is that kid is a bad person, and he deserves all this, even though actually he seems to be enjoying himself.
You can't tell, right? It's somewhat ambiguous.
Well, it's all ambiguous because I feel like those two characters exist primarily from face value as a vehicle to get body horror into your eyes.
Yeah, pretty much.
They are just a vehicle for body horror, mostly around your body melting or becoming horrifying in some way, and you can't get around it. But on a much more meta level, when you read this, and I'm not going to spoil too much because you can just read this thing.
Satan.
But yeah, originally he sort of portrays himself as like, yeah, I'm cursed by the devil. My sister, I messed with devil shit, and now my sister is cursed, and I'm trying to protect her and live my life. I'm so sorry. But then the sister is like, yeah, he was fucking torturing animals, and Satan came after him.
He fucking loves the devil.
Yeah.
He's not accident. He's like, he's Satan's best
He's
pal.
casually like, oh, I tortured animals as a kid because that's how I relieve stress in my life. And then, no, he just tortured animals.
You tortured the animals because you love Satan.
Yeah, like
You
this
want
kid's
him to
into
love you
Satan.
back.
But you find out like early on that the deal is if he apologizes to you, Satan gives him an orgasm essentially, and your brain starts melting. And the more he apologizes to you, the more your brain melts until you die and then melt into a puddle,
Right.
and the sister eats your brains and you, or they store it in bottles or something.
other thing-
and if you think that is too much of a spoiler,
His other
that's like the first 10 pages, and it just goes off from
His
there.
other superpower is he tells people how pretty they are, and they become ugly, but think they're pretty when he does this.
Yep,
So it's
the
like,
more he says you're
while
beautiful.
also being like this, like gross out kind of horror thing, it's also this commentary on Japanese society, which has worse problems than America does in
Yep.
terms of personal appearance issues.
Now, bear in mind,
and also constantly apologizing even when you're not the person who did anything wrong.
we are neither Japanese nor experts on Japanese culture, but the plot of this dude apologizes to people all the time to basically be, on one hand, he does bad things and his sister does bad things. He apologizes for those things, and everyone around him is sort of obligated to accept those apologies.
And he likes apologizing a lot.
But think about this. You do something bad, and then you are automatically forgiven by society, whether or not you should be forgiven.
You're forgiven for melting these people's brains and loving Satan.
Yep. But so he apologizes to people and they have to accept it. So as a result, he gets to keep doing these terrible things to people. But also, he is not actually ever apologizing because he's sorry. He's apologizing for his own selfish reasons and taking advantage of the fact that other people will accept those apologies.
Mm-hmm.
And the one girl who was sort of saved from this really is only saved because she passes out before he can keep apologizing to her.
Yep.
But she has her whole arc where she tries to expose them, and I'm not going to spoil whether or not she succeeds
The
in
point
exposing
is,
him.
If you want to read some horror mangas, right? Junji Ito is like the go-to of the horror manga.
Because these are direct. These are like, you want to see some horror? Let's see. How many pages
And
till
a
horror?
lot of the other-
0
as far
pages. Horror on the cover. Let's start. Horror in the first page. Okay, there's no horror in the very first page of the manga, except he apologizes to everyone in the class. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's some horror. Yeah.
Anyway, the point is,
let me suck your brains out. Here we go. 5 pages
the
in.
bigger series, like this Gyo, which is the one with the fish, and Uzumaki, which is I think the spiral one, right?
Yep.
It's like those are longer series, so you might not know if you're into this. Like you don't want to go into. You can just read this. It's like a one-shot, tiny deal to like be your intro to the world of this kind of style of manga to figure out if you want to go deeper and read the rest of everything out there.
Yep.
Or not.
What's cool is at the very end, after you learn a bunch more about Satan and whether or not the story resolves itself, because it resolves itself to a degree, you get a couple of really, really short, like 4-page comics. Did you read those at the very end, like after the story?
Yeah.
And
I don't remember them.
they're not about people melting. They're just like horror vignettes, like really simple ones that are kind of interesting. It's hard for me to be super like generally objective about a review of this kind of stuff because I really like horror in general. I mean, I listen to Pseudopod like constantly. Like I like contemporary horror fiction. I've been watching horror movies since I was a really little kid.
I just like this for like the pictures of Satan and the pictures of people's heads melting.
Yeah.
Right? That alone is enough for me to read it, but is it enough for you to read it? It might make you want to not read it depending on who you are.
Yeah, I cannot stress this enough.
It's not for everybody.
If you do not like body horror, which is a very specific genre of horror, then you will not like this at all.
If you don't want to see a human body doing things human bodies don't do,
Yup.
don't look at this.
If you're bothered by irrevocable diffuse harm to your person, because this is pretty horrifying shit, and I love it. So there's not much else to say. I'm not gonna spoil
It's not a
it.
big manga, which is why we're doing a 2-shot.
But it goes way. It just goes. You're gonna think like, okay, I see what's going on with this.
No.
It'll escalate like page by page and never stop escalating.
Yep.
So the other thing we read
Is Wrecked Heart. So this I got at the Mocha Festival this year. I just saw it on a table and I was like, wow, that looks really well put together. And I like the colors and the
Yup.
arts, so I'm gonna buy that. So I bought it. So what it is it's not a manga.
it's by some artists in Sweden.
Right. So it's called Wrecked Hearts, and it's basically 2 different comics that have similar themes of heartbreak and wrecked hearts.
Well, dark shoujo, so it's heartbreak sci-fi shoujo.
Yes.
That's the theme.
Which is already great.
Yeah, I love everything about that.
The physical publishing of it looks like a manga, right? It's got even has a little strip of paper that goes around the cover,
Yup.
like a manga in Japan would, right, and such. So that's pretty nice. Inside has got nice paper. The first story is sort of got like a watercolor to it, and the second
Yup.
story sort of has
So
like
how
a,
did you-
like a zipatone deal.
When Scott told me to read this, we could read it on GeekNights. What he said was, Emily wrote and drew the first of these 2 comics.
Right, so there's 2 stories in here. The first story is The Real Thing by Luca Oliveri, which I'm pretty sure is Emily's pen name. And the second one is Dark Energy by Mathilde Kitteh, which is not written by Emily.
Yep.
I mean, it could be, but it doesn't seem like it. The first one definitely is.
So the first one has mysterious girls with powers and shape-changing and complicated gender roles and romance and space and hockey.
That's right. It doesn't have bunnies, though.
No bunnies. It's like if it had bunnies. And the second one is more, I don't know, it reminded me of particularly like that kind of Moto Hagio type shoujo sci-fi.
Yeah, story-wise.
Like they were 11 to it. Because actually they both fit into the they were 11 mold pretty well.
It's got some Tezuka going on in there. Like,
Yeah, the
you know,
second
like-
one was way more Tezuka, and the first one was way more like 70s sci-fi shoujo.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, they're both sort of that. But anyway, right. So the first story, right? You've got basically this girl, and she plays hockey.
Yep,
Oh,
space
yeah.
hockey
Space
in low
hockey.
gravity.
On the moon. Oh, man.
Yep. And she's just really funny, and like the character, like they're short stories, so they escalate pretty quickly. But her dad's an alien, and she's actually totally a shapeshifter with crazy powers, and she's just living among the humans and can't really reveal what she really is.
Mm-hmm.
She also really has the hots for this dude.
But when she dreams about the dude, she dreams that she's a dude. But she's a shapeshifter, so is she even a dude
Does
or
she?
not?
Is there even gender?
Right, so it has that sort of, transgender message going on there, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, well, here's a shape-shifting person. What do you think of that transphobic person?
Yep. What's
yeah,
even
what-
gender?
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
And it's a short story, so we're not going to really spoil anything. But you sort of piece together that part of the reason why she dreams that she's a dude when she's with him is because he had a boyfriend who may or may not be dead. And she is not allowed to use her powers because her dad told her not to. And she decides...
Well, you don't want everyone to know that you're a shape-shifting alien when they don't know shape-shifting aliens exist.
Yeah, it's not clear that anyone knows that aliens exist at all in, like, this world. Like, the fact that she's an alien could be a real problem if it got out for everybody involved.
They do have space travel. They go to the moon and shit.
Yeah. But she decides to have this plan to shapeshift into a dude and go on an all-male hockey trip with them.
I don't think it's an all-male hockey trip. I think it's just a school hockey trip. But
yeah, she has a plan that involves touching his dick.
Yeah, good plan.
Yeah, that's a solid plan.
A+.
And
so you can find, if you read this, you'll find out how much dick touching happens.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's a good story.
Yeah, and I mean, even though we just talked about dick touching, it's not like a porn. It's not a yaoi or anything like that. It's not graphic sexually in any way. It's appropriate for young teens who at least know what sex is.
Yeah, this is like 13, 14 and up.
Right.
Easily.
I mean, there's worse shit on TV in prime time than this.
And it does the thing that I like about this, that I don't want to say this era of shoujo or this era of this kind of sci-fi, because this is from this current era. This is contemporary science fiction, but that 70s style, like Japanese shoujo sci-fi, it really covers those kinds of issues in that kind of way, and it addresses its subject matter in a really interesting and thoughtful way without spelling it all out for you.
Right. And also, I mean, the second story does this also, but it is not go where you predict it's gonna go.
No, we cannot spoil.
It is a fresh story, right? It is not some old, tired trope that is repeated, right? It's totally fresh, which is, and refreshing to read.
The second story is
dark energy.
Vaguely, because I really don't want to ruin much about it, because you should read it. It's really good.
It's got some cuteness going on.
A lot of cuteness. It is much more Tezuka sci-fi in a lot of ways, like you said.
Yeah, it's got a little Katamari action going on.
There's a cute little robot guy who kind of looks like a taiko drum.
Yeah.
And he can turn into a boy, but only for a little while at a time, or it drains his battery. And there's this girl with a mysterious past who's alone on a spaceship and may or may not also be a plant on the spaceship.
Right. She lives on a spaceship that basically is a place that grows plants, and she's all alone on there, right?
And she meets this robot.
It's almost like a biodome kind of deal.
And they hang out together, and the robot has a crush on her, and it escalates.
Well, the robot's lonely in space, and so is this girl. So you meet the first person you meet in. I mean, like, if I'm not. Like, regardless of who the hell they are, it could be ugly fat that guy.
Yep.
Right? And if I'm alone in space for a long period of time, and I end up on a space station, and the only living thing there is ugly fat that guy, I mean, I don't feel it now, but I could imagine even going that far to suddenly be into the lonely fat that guy. Like, oh my God, it's a person. Even the worst person is better than no person.
Interaction of any kind.
And this is a great person. It's a cute plant girl.
Yeah, cute plant girl, cute taiko drum robot.
Cute taiko drum
and
robot.
Potentially cute space girl who might be the other girl's ex.
Who's also totally badass.
And to not really say anything else about where this goes, it deals with a bunch of issues in a really oblique way.
Yeah.
The ideas of
in a really short amount of time, and it still leaves space for space stuff and cute stuff.
Yep. And also like really existential stuff, but self-identity, toxic relationships, past relationships in light of the future, loneliness. And like I said, it deals with these in really oblique ways. Both of these comics, but particularly the second one, they're like the failure of a lot of contemporary science fiction is spelling out, here is the question I am asking in this comic.
Like the first one is a little less subtle with its, we are going to discuss trans things.
Yep.
Right? Even though it does a really good job.
Gender identity, gender issues, attraction.
It's not super subtle in like, that is my message.
But it brings in a lot of ancillary and related issues in subtle ways to complement the story. This other one is like, here is a story, and if you're clever, you'll realize, oh, it's about like these 4 or 5 things. And it doesn't really give you a clear answer. It just says, have you thought about this stuff? And I don't want to say a lot more because it's
If
Like-
you want to read some not manga that has very nice contemporary and modern-ish storytelling with really good arts in a really nice publication format, I don't know how you can get this thing.
You can buy it on this website right here.
Oh, how about that? So yeah, had to buy it at a really indie Comic-Con, but
Yup.
you can buy it on some website.
The website seems legit,
I'm
and
sure if you give that website money, they will send you this comic. I am confident.
the funniest thing is, it's not just that it looks like Emily drew it, but that character, the shapeshifter, in a lot of ways also reminds me of Emily.
I'm just saying.
Because if Emily's left her own devices and she just falls asleep anywhere in a bed or on a couch or anything, she pretty much looks like that by the end.
Not bundled enough.
Yeah, she's not bundled enough, but holding the pillow and drooling.
I'm just saying. I'm somewhat confident that what's the person, Luca? Is that the one who did the first comic?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure Luca Oliveri is Emily's pen name.
Yeah, or they might be doppelgangers of each other or something. There is a shared sensibility into how to make a sci-fi shoujo story.
I guess I've never seen Emily do watercolors. I'm sure she can though. She has skills. I've never seen her do it though.
All right, that ended up being a full show. Good to go. All right, I'll do the Patreon thing, and then I'm gonna make myself a dinner.
I'm gonna reheat the shrimpies I made.
I got a bunch of stuff to reheat. I think you know what I'll do? I'll reheat everything I got. Yeah, you can take that back. Everything I got that is reheatable. GeekNights Rim.